Well, that certainly was a pretty fun national season to anyone who's able to make it there, like I was, and anyone who was watching online. Hopefully, you all saw all the fun events, such as Magnemut Target. Oh, that's not how you say Foxy Tune.
We get a Bestial Magma targeting the Foxy Tune, vanishing and summoning out, and
To the Forbidden website being used as reference material for practicing with friends. It certainly was fun, but time moves on, and so must we. So instead of looking back and cherishing the memories of scrubbing out of LCQs to Dynamorphia, I would like to update you guys on a new deck list for the DUNE format that will be coming out in the next few weeks after Duelist Nexus is out, and why we need to change what we're going to change. So, to start, we have to start with the typical Punk engine. Nothing has changed here, and I don't think anything will outside of maybe Ogre Dance to 2. But everything is just as it was. We still play 3 Foxy, 3 more Foxy, sorry, that's how you say Foxy Tune. 3 Xiamen, 3 more emergency, or 3 emergency teleport. The Ogre Dance, which again could go up to 2 for consistency's sake, because seeing Punk is just that good. 2 Foxy, because more E-Tellys are always good. Sharkusai, Madam Spider, all the whole 9 yards. Everything is still here. This core is just ridiculous. And of course, to go with the same Punk engine comes the same Pride engine. Nothing here has changed from the real core. We still have these, 3, 6, 10 cards that are still the same, but we're going to add 2 more. So I changed out the old spell. I think for this next format, we should be playing The Crowd Goes Wild. Not because we want to open it or anything, but because this next format with the Revolution Synchron is going to be kind of ridiculous, a bit of a synchro format, where we really have to be concerned about some very bad synchro threats, especially the Chaos Angel made with a late and dark target. So my theory for how we're going to deal with that card is we're going to make a ginormous Psychic End Punisher. And so to do that, assuming you can find a way to make the Chariot Carry, we're going to search this out, and if we happen to see it, we're going to use this guy. But either way, we want 1 Leon, and we want to pay 1,500 to search him, 1,500 to search him, and then another 2,300 to special him out with this effect, which, by the way, you don't need to use this effect to summon, but we're trying to get as low on life points as possible. So, with these 2 cards, we can pay 3,800 just for searching these 2, and if you already see Leon, you can make it 4,100 just from searching and summoning, to make it so that you can make a ginormous Psychic End Punisher, because otherwise we don't have a way to out a Chaos Angel of Light and Dark, because it is both not destroyable by battle and unaffected by our activated monster effects. So, my goal here with having this as a second spell in is just to make it so that we can make a big Punisher very fast so that we can play into the next format, which I expect to be dominated by Synchros. And if it's dominated by Synchros, expect a lot of Baron, expect a lot of Chaos Angel, and a bunch of other shenanigans. And then, of course, or not of course, but we're adding 1 more of these as just an extra layer of consistency. It also means we'll see this a little more often, which means we can make the ginormous Punisher turn 1 more often, since we can search this more often and use its effect to summon more often. It also just helps with consistency, because as much as we need Roller Baller at 3 so we can resolve him off the trap, or alternatively so that we can use this as our dump target, seeing more than 1 level 2, even level 5s in your hand without seeing a small body, it killed my soul over this last weekend, so we're putting in just a little bit more consistency. Now on to our flex spots, and this is where it gets interesting. So we've cut Impermanence down to 2, not because it's a bad card, but because we needed to put 1 more Gold Pride spell in, and so this is the card that I decided to cut. It's still good into the matchups that we need it to be, so we can still draw it and hit the Arisard if that's what we need to do. We can hit the Lubellion, which is actually really risky when you're playing into Branded Fusion, since they play Duality now. So you can't hit Granganol with this. You have to hit Lubellion or the other one, Albion. Otherwise, you're giving them a Dragoon, which you obviously never want to do. Speaking of Branded Hate, Ash Blossom. Card's crazy. It's a level 3. We love that. It's just generically good into everything. I imagine tuning is going to be going crazy, so this hitting tuning can be important. Again, we'll have to see how the format shakes out, but this is something that, you can't go wrong with Ash. You really can't. And then from here, it starts getting pretty spicy. So, to start, I'm putting in 3 Lava Golem in the main. And this isn't because I want to go second. This deck always wants to go first because our go first board is nigh unbreakable. But we have a really hard time going second. It's very, very difficult. And so I've put in Lava Golem as one of our pieces of cards where it's like we draw that and it's like, okay, cool, it's in hand. Alternatively, when you go second and you see this, that unaffected Chaos Angel and Baron, gone. It never even mattered. And since we already have the 3 E-Telly plus the 2 Foxy Tune, there's a good chance that we can just go straight into special summoning. Alternatively, we're in a position where it's like we can't normal or special, but we're putting them on, or putting them into a much worse scenario than they were in, and with any luck, they won't kill you. And if you see any of the Gold Pride cards, and specifically the Searchers, you're in a very good spot as well. To the point where the Foxy Tune count might even go up to 3. But this card, I think, will become very, very clutch, at least early on in DUNE, as people are spamming out Chaos Angel Baron, Chaos Angel Dissipator, Chaos Angel something, because Chaos Angel is going to be ridiculous, and they're going to have an easier way to make it to 10s than they already do have. Another playset of Go Second cards that we have is Evenly Matched. There were a few games where I drew Evenly Matched in my hand and no way to actually combo out, and so what I did is I just passed. I let my opponent do damage to me, not kill me, and then I'd go end phase, and they're like, end phase. You resolve Evenly Matched, and they sit there and they really think about their life for a little bit, because Evenly Matched does that to people, but they never expect that in it going first. So game 1, having Evenly Matched is actually ridiculous, and since we need Discord fodder, both of these can go in the main deck, and it's not even a problem. And of course, we still have our little level 3 package, a searchable off the Jam Dragon drive, because, you know, you can search them. Ghost Ogre really isn't going to be all that good, or it doesn't seem like it's going to be all that good in the next format. But since it's a search target, we're playing it, and if it comes up, it comes up. And then Tracker also a search target. This is specifically so that you can keep Charcusai on board if you happen to open another gold. Fuck. So this is in deck in case you happen to draw enough punks so that you can keep your Charcusai on board, where normally to go into the Chariot carry, you will use Charcusai or whatever you've reborned off of Deerna when you made your Synchro 8, and then the Madam Spider that you'll be special summoning out. This lets you keep the Charcusai because his effect is actually pretty decent, especially on their turn. So you keep this and you use this in the other level 3 that you summoned, and you keep your Charcusai bounce. And then you'll also get Gold Pride access. It's pretty crazy. So starting out our side deck, we'll start with 3 of a funny enough starter, but also very good. Cosmic Cyclone. So Cosmic Cyclone is obviously a starter since it puts you lower, and if you see any Gold Pride cards, you can just slam them on a board. But it also hits Fountain in a way that Destruction cannot, same as Bouncing. You always would want to banish it if you can, and this is one of the few cards that lets you do that, especially as it's citable. It hits any floodgate that you're scared of, so just having this in your side or in your main somewhere is probably pretty good of an idea. Next, we have our Go First card, Anti-Spell Fragrance, still here, and it will be here till it gets banned or limited, and even then it'll find a way in. Because giving your opponent the token plus Anti-Spell just makes it so they can't play, and if they can play, their options are gone, because power spells are gone, you can't special Fenrir, you have a token, you can't evenly matched, you have a token. There really isn't much you can do with it, of course, until they normal summon any of the Mana DM level 2s. And then you cry because nothing happens, but that's only if you're playing into Mana DM, and you just have to alter your game plan at that point. From here, we have 3 Bell. This is a card that I haven't had to side in very often as of recently, but that's mostly because I haven't been playing into Branded or Labyrinth all that much. But having it is still going to be important because of Branded and Labyrinth, unfortunately enough. I do want to swap it, but we're stuck with it at the moment. And then we have some... Oh, wait, no. Before we get to the real spicy stuff, we have Talents. Talents is good. It always has been good. It's crazy. It really helps with the Kashtira matchup, and if we happen to go into a format where Chaos Angel is made, plus another card, we can probably take the Chaos Angel, and then maybe link it off or get rid of it, because Chaos Angel is going to be a bit of a scary problem for this deck as it stands. And now we get into the tech. So first, I believe Dimensional Barrier will become a meta call. Dimensional Barrier it's good in spurts, and it was very good last Nationals format. It's been good recently, but it's been overshadowed by other cards, mostly Anti-Spell Fragrance, and this is taking the Judgment slot in a 4th and 5th Go First card, because I expect next format to be extremely heavy in Synchro summoning with the new Revolution Synchron. I think it will really shake up the game, and this has applications into many other decks anyways, so since it's going to be very heavy into a Synchro format, at least with Revolution Synchron coming out, I think Dimensional Barrier is a very good call, at least early on. since you call whatever and, you know, GG. And then for the really, really funny spice where we'll have to see if it comes up, we have mistaken accusation. So last time I had mistaken arrest in, and it's good because it cuts off searching for 2 turns, or drawing for 2 turns. But mistaken accusation is like significantly funnier into exactly any of the runic builds. I kind of forgot that I had this, and rereading it, this might be one of the few cards that just kind of turns off runic if you don't see cosmic. So if you don't know, what this card does is if your opponent has more total cards than you on board or in hand, then you can target a card on the field face up, and neither player can activate cards with that name or their effects for the rest of the duel except that target. So what that means is if you're playing into a runic player and you're scared of exactly tip searching, which wouldn't be what you're scared of, but you'd be more scared of like freezing curses to negate, right? Because if you get your monster effects off, because let's say your normal summon, you just need your normal summon to resolve. Even if the special summon monster goes away, you'll be okay. Then you go mistaken accusation, target the freezing curses that they used some turn, like turn 1 or turn 2. Be turn 2 or 3. But you target it, and that one resolves, so you're crying about that for a little bit, but they cannot use it for the rest of the duel. Because it's a runic player, of course, they've already drawn 3. They have a fountain up, they probably got a monster or 2 on board, and so they have more cards than you for sure, and you use this, turn off monster negation for the rest of the duel, and all of a sudden, this duel that was going to be very hard is very fightable for you, because now every freezing curses is dead. And then this also stacks, so if you have multiple mistaken accusation, first one can be used on curses, next one on the special summon pop, which should be not destruction. Destruction is back row, so flashing fire. So flashing fire, freezing curses, and now they're left with destruction, which if you're playing all monsters never affected you anyways, and all the ones that people play at 1 because they're nowhere near as good as the 3 effect negation, the pop, and the back row pop. So mistaken accusation will probably be very cute in that circumstance. I'm very eager to see what else it becomes good in, but I think it's really cute, and it's something that I'm going to be testing out for the next few weeks, going into DUNE and then through DUNE, to see if there's any monsters that are really just looping. All right, next we get into the extra deck. So we have Donner in here. I took this with me to the Nationals. He didn't come up because no one was playing the Ibli package, but he could come up going in the future for into Chaos Angel to just get him off the board, as funny as it is. But it is also a good way to deal with that. I believe it's also a skill drain out because he tributes to... No, he tributes for that. So he's not a skill drain out. Let's just start. So into the extra deck, to start, we've got Donner. I took this with me to Nationals. Unfortunately, it never really mattered because none of my opponents were playing an Ibli Sprite. But there's always the threat of that, so having him is kind of chill. We've got extra deck space currently. Also, this would help us out the Chaos Angel that I assume is going to come into the format. So having him in deck is pretty good. Since we got extra deck space, why not? We still have Malong. Malong is still a skill drain out. It can still make Baron with the level 5 Psychic Baller or Deerno, or 7 with Tracker or Carry. I currently don't have it in this build, but there is definitely space. We could also use it to make Chaos Angel light, which is very good, which might actually even happen going forwards once I get a hold of one. Or a Dissipator, but... Oh my god, this can make Dissipator? No, it can't. I don't think it makes Dissipator. But either way, card's still crazy, so we need to play it. Best card in the deck going in the next format, if I had to take a guess, Psychic End Punisher. Of course, he's played. Hero play him at 2. I still only have 1. But still a very good card. And so next I have Omega. Currently, this is a fill spot. So since this is a fill spot, you could put in whatever you think is most important to have here. You could put in a Hope Harbinger to take a spell card. So when you're playing into Pirelli, that's very funny. Or if you're playing into Branded, you take their Branded Fusions so that they can't banish the trap to add it back to hand, make them hard draw it, and then you negate it anyways. But currently it's Omega. This is another card where if I were to put Assault Synchron back on, would make a crazy Chaos Angel. But having a free hand rip when you sometimes need it when you're on top deck is pretty nice. So I've just got him chilling right there. And then we have Draco, Berserker of the Tenyi. Another Synchro 8 because we've got space for him. Going second, he's just such a menace, right? You put him on board. He says, banish a monster that your opponent uses the effect of. So if they have something like Baron on, you force their negate one way or another. And then it's banished. In battle phase, you beat over anything that's less than 3k, and you do it again on another monster, so it helps you really clear boards. So since he's up to a 3-for-1, he's just really good. And since we've got space and make 8s pretty easily, he gets to go in. And then Dragite. This card is hilarious and actually probably the best card in this deck going first, funnily enough. Because going first, the strategy is Resolve having a Nitro Head on board to give them a token. And then once you have the token, you flip Anti-Spell Fragrance and tell them, well, how are you going to play? And so if you have Dragite, even if they have, say, Destruction, they have to have Destruction and Freezing Curses. Destruction and Widow Anchor if they're playing Runic Striker for some godforsaken reason. Peep my video. Or, you know, they have to have a way to out Dragite before they get to the standby phase so that they can deal with my anti-spell. And then also the token. And so he's in here. He's also really good into Branded. He's really good into Trap decks. Like, he's just really good. So, of course, we're going to play him. Then we, of course, have the Zeus package, Downer Zeus. This lets you get a format Zeus if you're going second into things like Kashchira, or realistically anyone that lets you attack with a Exceed 3 that you make. It's just so powerful that it's worth having. And then you can go full board from there and then just sit on him. Though if you're going to do that, it almost suggests leaving him at a 1 mat, because if they have talents, they can't use it. Then you have to clear your board. So we got our normal P.u.n.k package, 1, 1, and 1. So 1 Amazing Dragon, 1 Jam Dragon Drive, 1 Carp. With some of the extra space we have, we could always bring that number up, because these two can always go. These aren't necessary. They're just really cute tech pieces. So if you wanted to up, say, the Jam Dragon count, the Carp count, or the Amazing Dragon count, you absolutely could, and it wouldn't really hurt the deck all that much. I just play them at 1, 1, and 1 because that's all that's really needed for the strategy to go off. And then into the Gold Bride package, nothing new here either. We have 2 Chariot Carry. I play 1 as this is a bit of a tell if you ever somehow play me. This is my one I use to actually go combo, so I'll make this one Detach, Search, and Dump. I'll use this one as my Zeus material because it's not pretty. So you beat, Downer, Zeus, and then you've got a format. And I like having 2. This could also be Fortune Tune, but I don't like discarding if you can avoid it. But Fortune Tune does have the effect where it can't be targeted, so into Runic it's probably more correct than this. And then you have these 2. You know, I never would have thought it, but Star Leon actually came up over the weekend, which was absolutely hilarious. Since sometimes you'll have just carry sitting out there, because that's what you happen to see. Use it plus, like, Sharkusai or Spider, and you make this guy. And this guy's actually crazy. I used him to out my opponent's Zeus, and then have just any other 3k body on board, which would then kill, or it was even a really late game state, so I didn't even need that much more. But I used it to pop and gain. Beat over, and that was gain. And if it wasn't, worst case scenario, you tag him back out, bring out Small Leon, bring out Baller, and now you're putting them on. You're going to get your shit fused, and so it's very powerful. But yeah, going into next format, this is a bit of an update to the deck list that essentially has already been posted. Again, you could certainly change some of the pieces like Lava Golem, but I think he's going to be such a good call that I'm even preemptively putting him in. You could always up the Gold Pride count, but where it sits right now is about where I like it. This deck should be able to perform better into next format, and since this deck has a hard time going second, a lot of those flex spots are dedicated to that, which really helps. Once you resolve and evenly match into your opponent, they're kind of in a bad spot. I appreciate you guys for watching. This deck list should be much better for this next format after my national scrubbing and general just anticipation with what the new cards do. Lava Golem should be such a good call, especially going second, because that's what this deck struggles with. So putting Lava Golem in should be a big help. And then, of course, the next format being Super Synchro Heavy is going to make the turn skip cards that we have very, very powerful. Mistaken Accusation, I really hope comes up, because this card is hilarious, and I haven't had a use for it yet, but it looks like there might yet be an application for it. And, of course, if you guys have anything that you could add to this deck list, any ways to make it better, any cards that seem redundant, or any text that I'm missing, please let me know in the comments, because I want to make this deck as good as possible. At this point, I'm pretty, buried into it. I've more or less put in more than I ever should have, value-wise, into this deck. So I'm stuck with it. So if there's any way that you guys can make this deck better, let me know, and I'll be on it. I'll test it. I'll try anything, any funny text you guys can put out. But either way, enjoy your day. Peace out.
And there's a reason why I'm getting